Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello and welcome to the Midweek Takeaway. Today we're joined once again by Jonathan Bixby, CEO of Tiger Royalties and Investments plc. The company has just announced it has secured its second Bittensor subnet, known as Tiger Beta, marking another major step in its expanding presence within the decentralized AI space. This follows on from the successful Tiger Alpha subnet, which is now generating over $4,800 per day in revenue. Jonathan, great to have you back. How's things?
I'm well, Phil. Nice to be here.
Absolutely, yeah. So first off, for those unfamiliar, just take us through again exactly what this Bittensor subnet is and how does it relate to the broader Bittensor network?
Yeah, no problem. So broad, let's go broad into specific. So Bittensor obviously is decentralized AI. It has its own reward token, which is called Tau. Tau is built off the back of the concept of BTC, i.e. there's only 21 million Tau. It is mined like BTC. So every X period of time, it gets harder to mine. Less Tau obviously is a deflationary, which is great for holders of Tau who believe in decentralized AI. So the reason people do it and go to Bittensor is they don't want control on their AI. They don't want ChatGPT or Claude controlling what they're doing. And Bittensor is this beautiful network that allows you to do work in AI and get compensated in something called an alpha token, which is then only tradable for a Tau token. So if you think about it from an investor's perspective, does decentralized AI make sense? Yes or no? Does Bittensor offering an incentive mechanism on crypto make sense? Yes or no? Obviously, I'm a firm yes on both of those answers. And then the third one is, does the Tau token go up over time? And I think given the way that they've structured their project, the people behind the project, and what we're seeing in terms of the Tau valuations, I think the answer on that is yes as well. So that's what we're doing. The beta Bittensor network that we're putting out on Tiger is going to be active on Monday. And on Monday, we will announce what it's actually doing, which is exciting. Yeah,
absolutely. I've been trying to sort of break it down into a kind of like a bit of, I think I had an analogy last time, which is these classrooms and these subnets. But I was thinking like if we say Kev builds a chatbot, never going to happen, but imagine Kev builds this great chatbot, okay? And he wants to...
Isn't he a chatbot? I think he is a chatbot.
I am a chatbot. I don't need to build one. What are you talking about?
So he builds this great chatbot, right? And he wants to monetize it. So he then comes to the Tiger Alpha subnet, which is obviously focused presumably on the language AI. And then he presumably has to stake some alpha tokens to get listed and connect his model to that, onto that Tiger Alpha subnet. So his model works, and presumably he answers tasks that anybody puts through to him on the network, and then he gets paid in Tau if he obviously ranks well, and then Tiger also earns Tau too for operating that subnet. Is that a fair kind of like basic analogy?
It is, with one caveat, and the caveat is that the subnet itself is doing something. So Kevin would go to a Tau-based chatbot subnet if he wanted to do that. So the Tiger Alpha subnet we are doing something very unique and interesting.
So there's the next question. I think you've moved up the rankings pretty fast in the last few days even. How quickly do you think that this could become a top 10 subnet, the one that already is in existence, the Alpha?
Yeah, I was on this show last week saying I think we could be $1 billion company, and I'm a pound company, and I'm going to maintain that. I think that the way that this works is so clearly mathematical to me. And an analogy that I really like on this, and it's not a perfect analogy, but it's a good one, which is it's monopoly. I own Park Place, and when you land on Park Place and use my property, you are going to pay a tax.
Park Lane, man. Park Lane, not Park Place.
We call it Park Place in the US.
You see.
That's wrong, I think.
In England, it's Lane.
Okay, Park Lane.
You probably have it blue and not purple.
I think you used the Manhattan analogy in your RNS.
I did back in the day, but the way to think about this is I own prime real estate in the fastest growing market the world's ever seen, AI decentralized. I have a use case, and now Phil, coming full circle to your question, my use case is very specific. Those people who want to use my use case will come to my subnet, are coming to the subnet and using it. That creates more emissions. Those emissions get sent out to the miners, the validators, and the owners. And the more people that use it, the more traction we have, the more we make. And you're seeing that in real time.
What is the other one likely to do then? Or are you not going to tell us that either?
He's not.
I have to drop
honest.
that in an RNS because it's relevant and probably price sensitive.
I guess my question is obviously the second subnet, $25,000 acquisition. See, initially I read this and I thought, how has he managed to get this so cheaply? But I guess buying the actual subnet isn't the difficult part. It's creating a use case which is unique and valuable enough to generate the revenue, right? So, obviously you've got to invest in the infrastructure and the talent. The second subnet may not start profitable, but you're talking about it being made there. I don't know whether a better analogy, but a similar to me is kind of like buying web domains back in 1995. Because right now they're extremely valuable, right? Trying to get any domain at all. But back in the day, obviously, when the internet started, it didn't really matter. So is it similar to that or not at all?
Yeah, I think the web domains is a good analogy, except the caveat is there's only one web domain available a day forever. So I think it's even more valuable. And then to just point at your first question or comment, which is we bought for 25,000 yesterday.
Yeah.
If you check at what the subnets were bought for today, it's a lot more. So we bought the dip. I saw the dip the night before. We put in a pretty aggressive bid, and got to be good to be lucky, etc. But that was a very good price.
Is it luck, or is it just the potentially access and relationships within Bittensor ecosystem? Obviously, you've got.
I think luck is a combination of all those things.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I guess is it at auction then when you're buying these subnets?
Full auction at a certain time at night in the UK. It's between
wonderful.
3 and 5 a.m. Every night this thing goes up for auction. You've got to understand the nuances of it to be able to get them.
And then, okay, last question from me, and then I'll let you go back to Phil. Is the idea to just maintain these subnets forever, and they're just part of the business forever and ever and ever? Or is everything to sell, and at some point you want to sell off the initial ones and keep the next ones that you go developing?
Like a good real estate developer or business person, I would say, obviously the goal, if they're printing money the way they are, is to maintain them because the ROI on them is exceptional. You don't have to be a mathematician to figure that out. If Tau 10x's, these things will become incredibly valuable, and investors will be willing to pay for that Park Lane real estate.
Very good, very good.
So, Jonathan, Park Lane and Mayfair are the two names you want to look for. But how many subnets are you going to buy?
With the economics that we see today, Kevin, I don't see a limit.
Okay, so if we're talking in 6 months' time, we're not going to have two subnets. Is that fair to say?
Given the economics that I'm seeing today, the answer is a firm yes. Obviously, things change. I think they're going to change better, but we will reevaluate if it's worse. If it's better than what it is, I have yet to see a business where the acquisition costs of a product or of the core capital expenditures 25 to 100,000, and you can start earning 4,000 to 5,000 a day in essentially pure profit on emissions off that. That's a great business.
Yeah, and that's with Teo currently it did dip to 305 or 308.
I think it's 360 last time I checked. So it's
360 now. But so people understand, this is exactly the same copycat as Bitcoin, 21 in circulation. They will halve every 4 years in terms of the amount of Bitcoins that are coming out, or Teo in this case. So as it stands at the minute, you got $300 and something in 3 to 5 years time. If we follow the same trend as Bitcoin, then these should be worth 3,000 to 5,000 per Teo coin, if that would be the same. Now, that isn't going to be a straight line for sure. That is basically the concept that you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm a long-term belief-driven, thesis-driven investor. And so I believe in AI, hard not to. I believe that crypto and decentralization are going to play a huge role in the agentic agent world. Not hard to believe that thesis. And I think Tau's the winner. So I'm coming out saying today, you heard about it here first, Tau is going to win in the decentralized crypto space. There are 30 odd or 3 billion, but 30 on the list of top cryptos. I see that going into the top 10 in this cycle. Like I am bullish.
So what is the other situations that you have within Tiger Royalties then that one are associated with Tau, and two that are in the BTC arena in terms of the having a treasury? I mean, do you see there's much point in you having a BTC treasury when you're printing Teos like they're going out of fashion?
Yeah, in some ways we have a Tau treasury, right? So if you think about we're earning in Tau, there's a Tau treasury. Coming back to your point, we are sort of across a number of areas, right? So AROC, agentic AI, AROC does make sense to be on a subnet, right? Because it is an agent. It could be on a subnet. It's proving its worth. That's why we put another 250,000 into it. Standard Strategies, Standard we invested in about a week ago. I think if you look at their stock, it's up significantly since then. I don't have the latest print as we sit here today. So I think that's a great strategy. And the great strategy there is, I don't know who's going to win. Is it MetaPlanet? Is it Smarter Web? Is it Tau? Is it Strategy out of the US? I want a basket of them. And so I think it's some of the best ideas are simple. That group who I've known for a while came to me with that idea. I loved it. We went there. The Tau Strategies investment out of Singapore is just more into this ecosystem, especially in the Asia market, that is taking off. And so that made a lot of sense. And then obviously our Tau Alpha token has done incredibly well. Therefore, Tau Beta makes a lot of sense and potentially more. That's correct.
Just to give you an idea, Phil, before, so Standard Strategy is 0.09, up 54% today, so it's doing okay. What price did you buy in?
I don't know if we made that public, but the number of shares we have is public. So let me just be you can double check that, but significantly less. You can do the math, but I don't know if we made the share.
So for sure, it's probably worth in excess of $1 million now, whereas you invested 250,000. I think
it's going to turn out to be a great investment.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got a few questions that were been fielded from some investors. So,
sure.
And a few of them we have kind of touched on, but will Tiger be holding the Tau it earns as a long-term treasury asset, or do you plan to recycle those rewards into other investments, operations, or new subnet builds?
Some of the above. So it depends on price, depends on where we think it's going. So we're very focused on being lean and nimble there. So I wouldn't want to go and say something categorical, but when it makes sense to hold, you hold. When it makes sense not to, you don't.
Yeah. And then obviously, when will we start to hear more about Tiger Alpha's performance, things like model rankings, emissions per day, or activity metrics? I mean, we've had one guy on the group, Dave, who's been putting on every sort of 30 seconds as the emissions have gone up at the weekend. It started off around the 8 and it almost doubled to 16 over the weekend. And everybody was saying, wow, they've almost doubled their emissions in 48 hours. So yeah, tell us more about the kind of performance analytics.
Yeah, so we are obviously AIM listed, so we have to be very careful about what we publish. Obviously, the beautiful thing about crypto and Tau is it's public. So anyone can go to the Tau website and see our subnets emissions in real time. And so we're not hiding that. We're not going to probably be talking about it on a daily basis because that's not what we are as a public company. But you can see our performance because it's right there in front of your face. Yeah, which I love. I love it. I love that part.
No, it's fantastic. And also, we talked a little bit about the slots or the subnets and the auction process, but are you seeing signs of increasing demand or competition for these subnet slots?
Absolutely. You need to know what you're doing to buy them. There's an art to it to secure them. And again, I'm so excited about what we did last night at 25K. That is amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I guess the last question is, you've done the Fifth Avenue Manhattan analogy. When are you going to get your Macy's?
You will see. We're going to hopefully put out an RNS about what our subnets are doing. It's coming. Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to know what the subnets are doing, because obviously, depending on exactly what they are doing, you have grown annual revenue. I mean, it's a big calculation and an immense number of variables, but they've been doing it in the group, saying you've now hit $2 million a year on the Alpha one. If it just carries on as it is, no increases at all, just stands still in terms of that, both the Tau and the emissions, but so many variables. But when we get to know what it's all about, I think hopefully from looking at your face, we'll get excited about the fact it's in this particular thing, because I imagine you're going to have chosen something that is going to grow pretty significantly.
Yeah, I think it's going to make sense to the market.
Very good.
Okay, what else would you like to tell people about Tiger Royalties? Because you've got so many things going on there that I think people need to know the full story.
Yeah, I think the full story is AI meets crypto. I mean, I think that I like quick, easy vision, and the vision is anything where AI and crypto are going to intersect makes a lot of sense. And then the second thing, and this is obvious to the UK investor, less obvious today because some of these stocks have gone down, but the treasury strategy idea just makes a lot of sense. And so I think we're going to see more and more adoption of smart corporate treasury strategies across multiple coins. And I think that's a very interesting place to be getting good deal flow. And obviously being connected into the deal flow that I am, like I'm seeing these companies come along and they're seemingly all raising premium, and they're raising for premium because people want access to this market. And so in the UK, it's hard to buy and hold crypto, as everyone knows. And so proxies make a lot of sense for people. And I think that's why you're seeing people move into the treasury strategy companies, and anything related to Bitcoin and crypto is exciting for investors that want something a little bit higher performing than a 60-40 portfolio. And I think that's where people are going.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for me, my last question is, if you're making, what was it, 4,800 a day, 365 days a year, so 1.75 million and change in a year, plus whatever else is going on in the background, that's a lot of extra capital, right? And I guess it's kind of, what else are you looking at investing in? I mean, it could be another decentralized computer infrastructure, so the Akash network or Render. It could be something else like hydrogen fuel cells, which might be quite exciting given the money that's going into there, and there's actually quite a lot of cross validation across what you're doing there. Data ownership, or even a black swan hedge. So what are you kind of doing in the background? I see you're smiling. It's not.
Those are all great ideas. I mean, I don't want to be vague, but the reality is anything you can do in AI will be done on a Tau subnet, and it will be done at scale. Because why would I rely on the big guys who have closed wall gardens and really expensive tokens? Like the reality is, I don't want that control. I want to control my own destiny. And creating a subnet is creating a business in decentralized AI. So Charles, to your point, all of those ideas are great. And actually we'll go back full circle to the idea of the early internet. Every website did well, right? Because there were no websites. It's not genius. This is greenfield. This is what's called greenfield technology opportunity. And so every single one of these ideas will be done on Tau at scale, and everyone doing them is going to make a lot of money. So this is early days. That's where we're at. That's why it's so exciting for me.
Good. Thank you.
20 years from now, and Tau is $100,000, the same as BTC is today. Your company could be worth quite a few pounds.
Yes, it could.
Okay. I think on that note, we'll say Jonathan Bixby, CEO of Tiger Royalty Investments. Thanks very much for appearing on the podcast.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure to be here.
This podcast was brought to you by Roast PR Limited. If you would like to appear on a future episode of The Sunday Roast, please email admin@thesundayroast.net.